壊しビルを解体。100の画面に挑戦。何面クリアできるか腕比べ。
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for those physically pressed games that are either rare, pressed in low quantities, or otherwise difficult to acquire.
I think I'm gonna hurl.
Number 10. Barbie, Groom and Glam Pups.
Welcome to the training room. Let's teach your dog a new trick.
One of the pitfalls of video games existing as downloadable content is that players are at the mercy of those platforms that make these games available. Barbie, Groom and Glam Pups was originally released in a physical format for Nintendo Wii and Nintendo DS back in 2010. It was also reissued for the 3DS in 2013, but the game is currently unavailable for download since Nintendo's eShop closure.
Sit. Bow.
Second-hand copies are pricey commodities, as well as just the 3DS cartridge alone selling for over $700 on certain second-hand sites. Oh, and if you want the box to go along with the cartridge, well, that's gonna cost you over $1,000 to make that happen. Yikes.
Once you progress as a trainer, I'll unlock more dogs for you to play with. I'm sure you'll be a great trainer. I'll let you give it a go.
Number 9. Wrecking Crew. There's both good news and bad news when it comes to the Wrecking Crew for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Firstly, the actual game itself is easily attainable as downloadable content on various platforms. However, actual physical copies of this embryonic Mario can be challenging to obtain for collectors. There's also good news on this front, since Wrecking Crew was bundled with the original NES console packages and saw many different packaging modifications within subsequent pressings. That said, if you're seeking out any of the racer variants of Wrecking Crew, such as stickered hand tab pressings or Canadian variant pressings, then you're likely looking at a few $100 on eBay.
ファミリーコンピューターのレッキングクルー。
Number 8. Pepsi Invaders. Video games were steadily gaining in popularity, yet the influx of subpar, rushed cash-in products was about to help usher in the video game crash of 1983. Pepsi Invaders was one of these games that were rushed to completion by corporations in order to capitalize on this hot new trend. As a result, Pepsi Invaders isn't really too fun to play, but it's even less fun to try and track it down in the modern day. That's because the game wasn't made commercially available, but rather given to Coca-Cola salespeople at their 1983 convention. Pepsi Invaders may just be a ripoff of Space Invaders, but copies have still sold for over $1,000 on eBay. Number 7. Poop Slinger. The long and frankly confusing story of Poop Slinger could take us all day to explain, but the Cliff Notes version is this. Yes, this is a real game. It also may be one of the most elaborate, or at least elaborately out of hand, April Fool's jokes ever committed, since this was the coincidental release date of the game. "84 copies of Poop Slinger were reportedly mailed out to customers that pre-ordered it for the PlayStation 4 back in 2018. The website VG247.com details the story of how Twitter was used by a company called Limited Rare Games, no relation to Limited Run Games, to push the one-day sales of this strange new game, after which the company apparently closed up shop. Number 6. The King of Fighters 2000. SNK's The King of Fighters franchise possesses legions of fans around the world, and this installment from 2000 can be played today. It's just the original Neo Geo cartridge that's tough to find. This isn't a surprise, really, since many games for the home Neo Geo consoles were published in limited quantities anyway, making them extremely valuable. The King of Fighters 2000 was developed around the time SNK was entering bankruptcy proceedings, and fans estimate that perhaps only 100 cartridges were actually published for the Neo Geo. The release focus of the King of Fighters 2000 was instead turned towards the Sega Dreamcast and PlayStation 2 consoles, making an OG Neo Geo version worth anywhere from $3,500 to $5,500. Number 5. Exertainment Mountain Bike Rally / Speed Racer. A myriad of companies have tried and failed at bringing new peripherals to the Nintendo market, but we gotta give the Exertainment system points for originality. The idea was to combine bike riding and physical fitness with gameplay, and it resulted in 2 games being designed specifically for this purpose. Mountain Bike Rally and Speed Racer were released separately by Exertainment, but were also combined with a single cartridge for the Super Nintendo. These cartridges only worked if you owned the exercise bike, which sold poorly, but the combo cart had become increasingly rare. Copies have been known to sell for nearly $4,000 factory sealed, while boxless cartridges can go for over $1,500. Number 4. Stadium Events. The Exertainment system wasn't the only Nintendo peripheral designed with physical fitness in mind. Enter Stadium Events from 1987, one of the 2 games that were developed to work with the short-lived Family Fun Fitness mat by Bandai. Some of these mats were included inside copies of other games in the series, Athletic World, while all 3 pieces of this strange Nintendo puzzle can go for a lot of money on the second-hand market. Specifically, Stadium Events once sold at auction for $12,000. Meanwhile, PAL-formatted copies from Europe, where the game was more successful, can easily sell upwards of $3,000 today. Or you could just play Nintendo's revamped version for their Power Pad, titled World Class Track Meet. Number 3. Nintendo World Championships. Today's video game championship tournaments didn't come to exist in a vacuum. Competitions have existed practically as long as video gaming itself, as evidenced by this rare duo of game cartridges. Both the Nintendo PowerFest game from 1994 and especially the Gold Nintendo World Championships cartridge from 1990 are worth some serious bucks. The latter in particular was developed for a marketing tour and competition and contained 3 games for contestants to play. Gray versions of this cartridge have been listed for big bucks, but the gold iteration, of which reportedly only 26 were made, was listed on eBay back in 2021 for a staggering $1 million. Number 2. Gamma Attack. The story of Gamma Attack is another long, strange trip and dates back once again to the pre-video game crash of 1983. The Gamation company decided to develop Gamma Attack to sell alongside its Atari peripherals, but advertisements from the time have led gaming historians to believe that very few copies of Gamma Attack actually sold. The game did make news headlines when a copy was listed on eBay for $500,000, while the website Racket Boy had estimated surviving Gamma Attack cartridges between $20,000 and $50,000. This is due primarily to the scarceness of its unsold copies and the low likelihood that many will surface, other than the one that currently resides in the collection of gamer Anthony DiNardo. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Tetris. The gaming historian has published a fascinating story on the brief history of game developer and publisher Tengen that we highly recommend, and it was in this story where the rarity of Tetris comes into play. Or at least the rarity of one particular version of Tetris, the recalled and cancelled version for the Sega Mega Drive. Sega voluntarily cancelled their version of Tetris due to Nintendo's license of ownership. Only 10 copies of the product were allegedly completed, and all were reportedly destroyed. That is, until one of those copies that were given to the game's developers, signed by Tetris creator Alexei Pajitnov, was uncovered and listed for a cool $1 million. Think you'll ever find one of these games in your parents' attic? How about at a yard sale or flea market? Let us know in the comments. In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.